Most people don't realize that the first few seconds after you open your eyes in the morning set the entire tone of your reality. Before you check your phone, before you remember your to-do list, before you even recall who you were yesterday, there is a fragile space, an opening, where your mind and energy field are impressionable in a way they won't be again for the rest of the day. This is the moment when you are most powerful, not because you are trying to force anything, but because you haven't yet resumed the performance of who you think you have to be. In this quiet space, the stories you normally believe about what is possible are suspended. Your nervous system hasn't reactivated its habitual stress responses. Your brain is still in a state of openness, somewhere between dreaming and waking, where it can be shaped by intention more easily than at any other time. And yet, almost everyone misses this moment. They slip back into yesterday's momentum without even realizing it. They begin broadcasting the same fragmented signals of lack, urgency, and self-doubt before their feet ever touch the floor. This is why so many people feel like their lives are stuck on repeat. Because every morning they unknowingly tell the universe the same story, and the field faithfully mirrors it back. But what if you learn to do something different? What if you use this small window of neuroplasticity and openness to broadcast a new frequency, one that actually matches the reality you want to inhabit? This isn't about performing or pretending. It's about choosing in those first moments of consciousness to become coherent instead of chaotic. To remember that you are not simply reacting to reality, you are shaping it. Today I'm going to share 3 simple phrases that can transform how you begin your day. They aren't affirmations in the way you might have used them before. They aren't about forcing positive thinking or trying to override your true feelings. Instead, these phrases work because they combine 3 elements that quantum physics and spiritual traditions agree are essential for influencing the field: attention, emotion, and meaning. When you speak them sincerely, especially in that fragile space between dreaming and waking, you're not just saying words. You are imprinting your electromagnetic field with a clear, coherent signal. If you stay with me until the end of this experience, you'll understand how and why this works. You'll see that the universe isn't some distant force deciding what you deserve. It's a participatory field responding to the frequency you broadcast, especially in the moments when you are most receptive. Before we move on, I want you to consider something that might feel uncomfortable at first. Every day, whether you mean to or not, you are already telling the universe what to reflect back to you. Your first thoughts, your first emotions, the quality of your awareness as you wake up, all of it becomes the energetic blueprint for the hours ahead. If you don't choose what to send, your subconscious will choose for you. And your subconscious doesn't care whether those patterns serve you or limit you. It only knows repetition. This is why information alone doesn't change lives. Because until you change the baseline signal you are transmitting, especially when your mind is most open, nothing truly new can take root. So as you hear these practices today, you don't have to believe anything blindly. You only have to be willing to experiment. To try just for a week what happens when you start your day by broadcasting something different. In the next part of this journey, I'll show you exactly why the moments right after you wake up are biologically and energetically unique. You'll see the science behind why your brain and nervous system are more receptive in this state, and how that openness can be used to align your field with the life you actually want to live. Stay with me, because what you choose to say tomorrow morning might be the moment everything begins to shift. If you've ever wondered why the first moments of your day feel so different, why your mind seems more porous, your emotions more tender, it's because your biology is in a state most people never think to use intentionally. Right after you wake up, your brain is shifting gradually from delta and theta waves into alpha and eventually beta. In simpler terms, you are moving from the frequencies of deep sleep and dreaming into the more active, analytical states of daily life. But there is a critical window between these phases when your subconscious mind is highly receptive. In this state, your habitual thought patterns and emotional responses are temporarily softened. The neural circuits that normally fire automatically are less dominant, which means you have a rare opportunity to introduce new impressions before your old momentum takes over. Neuroscientists call this a period of heightened neuroplasticity, a time when your brain can reorganize itself more easily. What you think, feel, and declare during this window doesn't just pass through your awareness. It imprints your nervous system and sets a baseline that shapes your perceptions, reactions, and decisions throughout the day. From a quantum perspective, this matters even more. Because in those early moments, the electromagnetic field generated by your heart and brain is highly impressionable. You are like a tuning fork that hasn't started vibrating at any particular frequency yet. What you choose to feel and focus on becomes the first signal you emit into the field. If that signal is coherence, a sense of gratitude, openness, and intention, your body and mind synchronize. Your heart rhythm becomes smooth, your brain waves align, and you begin the day broadcasting a clear vibration that the field recognizes and mirrors back to you. But if that signal is chaos, rushing thoughts, resentment about yesterday, anxiety about the day ahead, your nervous system slips back into survival mode. Your electromagnetic field becomes fragmented, and you start broadcasting a mixed message of desire and fear before you've even left your bed. This is why so many spiritual traditions emphasize morning rituals. It's not because the time of day itself is inherently magical. It's because your biology makes you more available to create change before the momentum of habitual consciousness fully resumes. Ancient yogic teachings describe this pre-dawn time as Brahma Muhurta, the time of creation, when the mind is naturally quiet and the veil between the seen and unseen is thinnest. Modern neuroscience describes it as the optimal state for reprogramming neural pathways. Quantum physics describes it as the moment your observer effect. The act of focusing awareness begins to collapse potential realities into form. Different languages, same truth. When you wake up, you are standing at a threshold. You can step forward intentionally, or you can fall back into the inertia of yesterday's frequency. This is why the first thoughts and words you choose matter so much. They are not trivial. They are the blueprint of your day's experience. If you think about it, you've already experienced this even if you didn't have the language to describe it. Have you ever woken up after a night of worry and felt that sinking heaviness before you even opened your eyes? That is your subconscious replaying the signal you fell asleep with. Conversely, have you ever woken up from a dream that left you feeling inspired or peaceful and noticed how that state seemed to carry into your day? That is evidence that the energy you start with has momentum. The difference now is that you no longer have to leave it to chance. You don't have to hope you wake up in a good mood. You can choose to become intentional about the first signals you broadcast. In the next part of this experience, you'll learn the first phrase to say to the universe each morning. A simple declaration that resets your nervous system, calms the mind, and signals to the field that you are available for alignment instead of resistance. You'll also discover how to combine this phrase with a specific breathing rhythm that amplifies coherence in your heart and brain. Stay with me, because once you understand how to use this window, you'll never again feel like your mornings are something that happened to you. You'll know that they are an invitation to become the architect of your reality every single day. Let's begin with the first phrase, perhaps the most foundational of all three. It is deceptively simple, but when you understand its purpose, you'll see why it holds so much power. I am open. These three words are not about convincing yourself that you feel positive. They are about establishing the most essential condition for any transformation, availability. Think about it for a moment. The universe, or the quantum field if you prefer that language, cannot deliver new possibilities into a mind and body that are already filled with old conclusions. If your first thoughts each morning are, I know how this day will go. I know who I am. I know what's possible and what isn't, you have already collapsed potential into limitation. I am open is a declaration that you are willing to suspend your habitual certainty. It is an invitation to the field. Show me something new. Show me what I cannot yet imagine. From a neurological perspective, this phrase begins to soften the default mode network, the part of your brain responsible for constructing your familiar sense of self. When you say it sincerely, you create a small gap in the mental stories that normally rush in to define your reality. From a physiological perspective, it has an immediate calming effect. Instead of activating your sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, it signals to your body that you are safe to explore, to receive, to allow. And from a quantum perspective, it does something even more important. It moves your consciousness into a state of receptivity rather than projection. Instead of emitting a frantic signal of "I must control," you begin to radiate the frequency of curiosity and trust. This is why the tone you use matters. "I am open" is not something you say mechanically. It's something you breathe into. Here's how to practice it. 1. As soon as you wake up, before you pick up your phone or engage your thinking mind, place a hand lightly over your heart. Feel the warmth of your palm. 2. Take a slow, steady breath in through your nose, letting your belly rise. Hold it gently at the top, then exhale slowly through your mouth. Repeat this twice more, allowing each breath to soften your awareness. 3. On the next inhale, silently say to yourself, "I am open." As you exhale, feel your body release any residual tension. You don't have to feel instantly relaxed or enlightened. You only have to be willing to explore what happens when you begin your day without deciding in advance who you are supposed to be. If you do this consistently, you may start to notice subtle shifts. A greater sense of calm before your thoughts fully activate. A feeling of space in your awareness, as if you have more room to respond rather than react. Occasional insights or intuitions that seem to arise unprompted. These are all signs that your frequency is beginning to organize itself differently. Here's a simple metaphor. Imagine your consciousness is like soil. If it's already packed hard with yesterday's stories and judgments, nothing new can take root. But the moment you declare, "I am open," you loosen that soil. You make space for fresh seeds to arrive. Some people feel resistance to this practice because they associate openness with vulnerability, as if it means becoming passive or naive. But openness is not the same as weakness. It is an act of strength to say, "I am willing to be surprised. I am willing to trust that there is intelligence beyond my own plans." If you forget to practice as soon as you wake up, don't judge yourself. You can do this anytime you notice that you've slipped into rigidity. The field is not measuring your perfection. It is responding to your dominant state over time. In the next part of this experience, you'll discover the second phrase, a declaration that anchors your trust and begins to harmonize your signal with the possibilities already waiting in the quantum field. Before we continue, I invite you to pause and feel into this question. What might happen if, for the next 7 days, you began every morning with nothing but this phrase and a single breath? Stay with me. Because what you're learning here is not another motivational tactic. It is a simple practice to remind yourself that the frequency you emit is not a reaction to circumstances. It is a choice you make, one moment at a time. Now that you understand the power of beginning your day with openness, let's move to the second phrase, a declaration that establishes trust and steadiness in your field. The second phrase is, "I am supported." These 3 words hold a resonance that is both scientific and spiritual. From a biological perspective, the nervous system is constantly scanning for cues of safety or threat. When you wake up and immediately think about everything you must solve, fix, or protect, you activate a cascade of stress hormones: cortisol, adrenaline, norepinephrine. Your heart rhythm becomes erratic. Your brain shifts into a beta-dominant state designed for problem-solving, not creativity or receptivity. But when you declare "I am supported," especially in the first minutes of your day, you begin to entrain your physiology into a state of safety. You shift from the chemistry of vigilance into the chemistry of openness. In other words, you are telling your body and mind that you don't have to carry everything alone, that there is an intelligence, a field, or a deeper aspect of your own consciousness ready to collaborate with you. From a quantum perspective, this matters profoundly, because the field responds not to the words you say, but to the feeling you generate. When you embody trust, even a small amount, you emit a frequency of coherence that organizes possibilities differently than the frequency of fear. This is why trying to manifest from desperation so often fails. If the underlying signal is, "I am unsupported," no amount of forced positivity will override it. When you wake up and gently declare, "I am supported," you soften the contraction that keeps you stuck in survival mode. You create an energetic permission slip to receive guidance, resources, and synchronicities. Here is how to practice it. 1. After you say "I am open," Remain with your hand over your heart or resting on your belly. Feel your breath. 2. Take a slow inhale and silently say, I am supported. 3. As you exhale, allow any tension in your shoulders, jaw, or chest to release, even if just 5%. 4. If your mind argues or resists, but I don't feel supported, notice that reaction with kindness. You don't have to force yourself to believe it instantly. Simply keep breathing and allow a small opening to the possibility that support exists, whether you can see it yet or not. This simple act begins to rewire the neural pathways associated with chronic stress. Over time, your body learns to recognize trust as familiar instead of foreign. When you combine this phrase with the first, something shifts. You move from merely being open to also feeling held, from curiosity alone to curiosity grounded in a sense of safety. This combination creates what neuroscientists call psychophysiological coherence, a state where your heart rhythm, brain waves, and nervous system are synchronized. In this state, your electromagnetic field becomes more ordered and more powerful. Remember, the field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. And when you are being someone who feels supported, you naturally attract experiences that match that vibration. Let me share a small story to illustrate this. A woman I worked with began practicing this morning ritual during a time of immense uncertainty. Every morning she would wake up feeling dread about her finances and her future. When she started using these phrases, she didn't feel instant relief, but she committed to consistency rather than perfection. Within a few weeks, she noticed something subtle. She was breathing more easily. She was less reactive to challenges. And one morning, she felt an unexpected clarity about a next step she had been resisting. That small moment of alignment led to a series of decisions that transformed her situation, not because she forced change, but because she became a clearer signal. You don't have to force yourself to feel fully supported right away. You only have to become willing to entertain the possibility. That willingness is what softens the field and invites new realities to emerge. Before we move to the third phrase, I want to invite you to mark this moment. Because the act of claiming your intention, even in a simple comment, reinforces your signal. If you feel a resonance with this idea, if a part of you is ready to practice a different way of starting your day, I invite you to declare it publicly. In the comments below, write, I am aligned. These words are more than a statement. They are a declaration to your mind, your body, and the field that you are choosing to move beyond survival into coherence. In the next part of this journey, we'll explore the third phrase, a simple declaration that activates your creative energy and signals your willingness to collaborate with the universe. Stay present, because by the time you integrate all three phrases, you'll have a morning ritual that doesn't just inspire you, it recalibrates your entire field. The third phrase completes the sequence. While the first two set the tone of openness and trust, the third phrase introduces a more active component, an invitation to participate in the co-creation of your reality. That phrase is, I am ready. At first glance, it may sound almost too simple, but don't underestimate it, because readiness is not the same as desire. Many people want change, but they are not actually available to receive it. They carry hidden contracts with the familiar. I want something new, but I'm unwilling to release my identity as someone who struggles. I am ready is a declaration that you are willing to let go of old stories, to let go of the comfort of certainty, even when that certainty has been painful. From a neuroscience perspective, readiness signals your reticular activating system, the filter in your brain that determines what information you notice. When you state, I am ready, you prime your perception to look for evidence that new possibilities are emerging. From a physiological perspective, this phrase shifts your chemistry out of passivity. It gently activates the energy of engagement without tipping you into urgency. And from a quantum perspective, readiness is the frequency of receptivity meeting intention. It's the moment you stop merely imagining what could be and begin aligning with the version of you who is already living it. Here's how to practice it. 1. After you say I am open and I am supported, remain with your hand over your heart or resting gently at your side. 2. Take a slow, steady inhale. As you exhale, silently say, I am ready. 3. As you breathe, feel into the meaning of those words, not as performance, but as a quiet statement of truth. You don't have to feel perfectly prepared. You only have to feel willing. When you bring this phrase into your morning ritual, you complete the arc. I am open establishes curiosity. I am supported establishes trust. I am ready establishes commitment. This sequence moves you out of the energy of wanting into the energy of allowing and embodying. But to make this practice effective, it's important to avoid some common mistakes. Let's look at them together. Mistake 1. Rushing through the phrases mechanically. If you simply recite the words without any presence, your nervous system won't register a change. Slow down. Take a breath between each phrase. Allow yourself to feel even a small shift. Mistake 2. Using the ritual as a test. If you start thinking, if I say these phrases, the universe must give me exactly what I want, you're introducing hidden control. The field doesn't respond to demands. It responds to coherence. Mistake 3. Expecting instant euphoria. Sometimes you'll feel immediate relief. Other times the shift will be subtle, a sense of spaciousness, a quiet easing in your breath. Trust that even the smallest change is meaningful. Mistake 4. Turning it into an obligation. If this practice becomes another box to check off your list, it loses its potency. Remember, these phrases are invitations, not chores. Mistake 5. Doubting the value of repetition. You may be tempted to think, this is too simple to matter. But simplicity is often the most powerful. Consistency is what creates new neural pathways and stabilizes your frequency. If you ever feel resistant, return to the essence. You are not saying these words to convince yourself of something untrue. You are saying them to remind your body, your mind, and your energy field that a different way of being is possible. Think of it like tuning an instrument. The first time you adjust the string, the sound may still waver. But with each repetition, the resonance becomes clearer. Over time, your field becomes a more stable broadcast of openness, trust, and readiness. Before we close, I want to share a perspective. These 3 phrases are not a ritual you do for the universe. They are a ritual you do with the universe. A conversation you have with the field that holds every potential version of you. When you consistently begin your mornings this way, you'll start to notice subtle but undeniable evidence. You respond to challenges with more calm. You notice insights and synchronicities you would have overlooked. You feel less urgency to control outcomes. You experience moments of clarity that feel like the universe whispering, yes, keep going. In the next part of this experience, I'll guide you through a short practice that weaves all 3 phrases into a single morning ritual you can complete in less than 2 minutes. Stay present, because integration is where the transformation becomes real. Not as a concept, but as a lived experience you carry into every day. Now that you've learned the purpose behind each phrase and how they work together to shift your state, it's time to bring them into a single, simple practice. This ritual doesn't require you to wake up an hour earlier or sit in meditation for long stretches. You don't need any special tools. All you need is the willingness to begin your day from a place of conscious intention rather than unconscious repetition. Here's how you do it. When you first wake up, before you check your phone or engage with your thoughts, take a moment to feel the softness of that space between sleep and waking. You don't have to rush. You don't have to perform. Just notice that your mind is still quiet, your body is still open, and your awareness is more available than it will be later in the day. Step 1. The breath of presence. Place one hand gently over your heart or rest it on your belly. Close your eyes or let them stay half open with a soft gaze. Take a slow inhale through your nose, feeling your belly rise. Hold the breath lightly for a moment. Exhale slowly through your mouth, allowing any tension to leave your body. Repeat this breath 2 more times, letting each exhale become a little longer than the inhale. Step 2. The 3 phrases. On your next inhale, silently say, I am open. As you exhale, feel your body soften. Inhale again, and silently say, I am supported. As you exhale, imagine a subtle sense of trust spreading through your chest. Take one more inhale and silently say, I am ready. As you exhale, allow any remaining tightness to release. Feel your awareness settle into a calm, receptive space. Step 3. The moment of integration. Pause here for a few breaths. You don't have to think about anything. You don't have to visualize anything. Simply notice how it feels to begin your day as a clear signal rather than a scattered reaction. If your mind wants to rush ahead to your plans or your concerns, gently remind yourself, there is time for everything else. Right now, I am tuning my frequency. This entire practice can be completed in less than 2 minutes. And yet, if you do it consistently, you will begin to notice a profound difference. You will feel less urgency to control every detail of your day. You will feel more aware of opportunities that match your intention. You will feel less reactive to circumstances that once triggered you. Because coherence isn't a performance, it's a signal. And when your signal is clear, the field responds in ways you can't predict, but will absolutely recognize. Before you go, I want to remind you of something simple and powerful. You are not here to fight your reality into submission. You are here to collaborate with it. Every morning you have a choice: to repeat the same stories and emit the same frequency, or to become deliberate about what you broadcast. This practice is not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about remembering, again and again, that you are the instrument through which the universe experiences itself. If you felt even a small shift in the way you see your mornings, if something in you feels called to explore this further, I'd love to invite you to stay connected with this community. Subscribing to this channel isn't about adding more information to your mind. It's about joining a space where science, spirituality, and the art of living in coherence come together, a space where you don't have to pretend to be someone you're not. Here we explore what it means to be a clear signal in a noisy world, to live with intention, trust, and the quiet courage to let go of what no longer serves you. If that resonates with you, you can subscribe now, and know that every time you return, you are strengthening this frequency in yourself. One breath, one morning, one quiet declaration at a time. Thank you for sharing this moment, for being willing to explore a different way of beginning your day. Stay present, stay curious, and always remember the universe is listening. What will you choose to say?